Today I'm going to teach you how to release tension in your body for better posture or good posture, and for improving your Tai Chi practice, your Qigong practice, for circulating the Qi more readily through your body. I have been doing standing meditation. There are apparently a lot of health benefits associated with this standing meditation. And what I'm finding is, at least in the immediate experience of it, is that I'm really fine-tuning my Tai Chi posture and where I'm feeling, actually discovering tension that I didn't even know was there. Then what? Okay, so you have this tension. Well, you can tell yourself, let go, right? Or relax, but how many of you find that effective? And I want you to think in two ways here when I'm speaking. I'm speaking physically in the context of Tai Chi, but I'm also speaking in the context of life. Like, this is a metaphor. This is a parallel for life. And so if you're faced with a conflict and you're tight or you're uptight, and somebody says, just relax, how well does that work? So every time you're telling your body, just relax, you're really kind of, it's a double-edged sword. You're trying to improve, but on the other hand, it's sort of a counterproductive way. So what I wanted to do is to speak to you about the tension that I found and how to release that tension without being hard on yourself or saying, just relax. And this is, again, a parallel, a metaphor for life. I mean, maybe your focus is over here, but that's not the real source of the tension-generating element in your life. So once I really found, through this standing meditation, in other words, just really dialing back, no forms, no Qigong, no Tai Chi, just standing meditation. Then I use the word meditation loosely. It's a standing practice, in fact, let's just call it that. Then I started to find where the true source of tension was in my body. And then when I was able to release that with a strategy that I'm going to teach you today, that someone taught me, all sorts of magic started happening. In other words, you release that point, you go to the source of that tension, and then all the other tensions loosen up and fall away. And sometimes the source of the tension is not what we think. I'll give you a few examples. I thought the source of tension was in my neck and in the front area of my chest. And I felt something funky with my right hip, still do, or my right knee, or my left ankle. You know, you were trying to find it. But the source of tension was in my right quad. And which, you know, that's more centered, right? It's more proximal to the body. And as a therapist, we work proximal to distal. We work from the center of the body out. So it makes total sense. All right, so here I finally found that source of tension. And then I used this very simple strategy to release it. And then when I released that tension, oh my goodness, my whole body went into song. And it just felt so good. And then it went away. So it's fleeting, right? And then, so every once in a while I visit it, I try to release it. And then today when I just walked Monty, I realized that that tension was there not only in my Tai Chi, not only in my Qigong, not only, you know, even in standing practice, but when I was walking, it was there. That was a huge revelation to me. I had no idea that I was carrying that tension in that right quad. And so I used this technique while I was walking, and it released, and oh, I felt like a whole different person. Now, could I sustain that? Probably 10 yards. And then it sneaks back in. And it sneaks back in because my mind's going somewhere else. And then I just went back to it, and released it, felt it, and then move on. And then if it sneaks back in, don't reprimand yourself. Don't say, dadgummit, you're back again, why can't I control this? Just be kind and release it. And then tune into the sensation of it when it's released. If we just release it and we move on right away, then we're not learning. So in order for it to become integrated, then we have to repeat it in short visits, and then we have to feel it. and enjoy the feeling. You know, it's like if you had a fine, now I don't drink wine, but it's like you had a fine glass of wine and you really want it to, you know, you want to enjoy it, so you're not going to guzzle it. So you take a sip and then you get distracted right away. And then you're not enjoying the whole experience of it, the bouquet, the taste, the feel, all of those things. So we need to, once we release, we need to enjoy that sip of that fine wine. And then we can move on. So take a moment to feel it. All right, it's a very simple way of releasing. So we're going to practice that. Let's stand up. It's really a very simple strategy, but at first, if you're not able to do it, then I just want you to pretend that you're doing it. Okay? All right, let's get in our Tai Chi stance. Actually, let's stand up all the way. Yeah. And right here, I'm already taking inventory of my body. I'm not trying to change something. I'm not going down my list. I'm just sensing and feeling. And your knees are slightly bent, okay? Don't have them locked out. We'll take a breath in, and then as you release, go ahead and keep the crown of the head connected to the sky or to a rope that's above your head by about 10 inches. And then feel that the body is sort of hanging from that rope. Now take an inventory again. And if you feel a body part that just doesn't feel right, because tension sometimes is hard for us to identify it, but if you just feel something that doesn't feel right, that feels out of alignment, all I want you to do is to go to that point. So let's, for instance, I'll say my right shoulder. My left shoulder is the one that's hiked up, so that's the obvious. So I'm going to go to the not obvious. I'm going to go to my right shoulder, into the qua right here, and now all you're going to do is breathe into that. Breathe into that space and pretend like you're inflating it, okay? So if you want, you can do your right shoulder, or you can do a different body part. So just pretend and breathe into it, and and pretend that you're inflating it. And it releases. Now, if you're not feeling it, it's okay. I've been practicing, so I really feel it. Now find a different body part. And I'm going to breathe into my right qua because it's tense. And that's the core for me. That's the core of my tension. So I'm going to breathe into it. And as I breathe into it, I'm going to inflate it. And it releases. So now go ahead and just try a couple other body parts on your own. If you feel tension there, breathe into it. You've heard that before, maybe by other practitioners, but the difference is we're inflating. Yeah, that's nice. Good. Let's take a breath in, and as you do, pretend that there's a space between the underneath of your arms and your thighs and your tummy area, and you're breathing in, and that inflates and lifts your arms for you. And then just breathe normally, but keep inflating that space. Yeah, let your arms go up only as high as you feel this inflation. Maybe it's just here. You'll hit a wall. And then once you've hit that wall, let it go. And bring this back down. Ah, that's nice. So now we're floating our arms with intention rather than moving our arms with muscles. So once again, inflate the space between your forearms and your body and feel like it's floating your arms for you. Ah, that's nice. Yeah, only as high now. Don't take over. Let it do the work for you. So I feel it about here, and then I hit a wall. Now if I continue, then I'm using my will Don't want to use my will. Release it. We want to use our intention. Good. Now pretend that you're inflating your legs, your whole body. It inflates through the trunk. Don't do it with me. Out the shoulder inflates and then out of the arms. So that's what floats the arms. So rather than an external inflation, now it's internal. Here we are. All right, begin by inflating the legs, the trunk, the shoulders, and the inflation of the arms floats the arms. Only as far as you feel it or you pretend to feel it, and then release it and let it go. That's nice. Beautiful. Nice. Now, I don't know about you, but with this, I feel a lot more energy, and it has a different quality to it. Okay, let's try it again. So now pretend you're inflating here. Now, your dantian can be here, but some people apparently feel it up here. So allow yourself permission to wherever it feels natural for you to inflate there. And then as it inflates, it fills your legs and your arms and your back and everything. Okay? So this time, we're going to do open and close. Let's float our arms. Float them up. And then connect the hands and only float them as high as you feel it. And now we're sitting down. Okay. Yeah, so you're sitting down on your stool. And then now I want you to inflate from that center point out. And as you do, that's what opens your hands. So you feel it move through your forearm or upper arms, forearms. And then you can stand up and get bigger. Go ahead and stand up. Your whole body inflating. And then bring it in towards the center. And you can sit back down. But this body stays open and empty. Good. All right, now once again, so you begin to inflate from the center. Fill up the legs, fill up the back, fill up the shoulder blades, the upper arms, and you can stand up gradually in synchrony with your inflation. Beautiful, Randy. Nice. And then release it. And it's sort of pulling it in. Remember the rubber bands? It's kind of like pulling it into the center point as you sit back down. But you still keep your spine and all your joints open. That's right. Let's try one more. So you begin inflation before you move. If you move first, you're just moving. Do it on your own. Inflate and then just go at your own pace. Some people might be able to inflate faster. It takes me a bit. And then I follow it. Make sure you stand up as you inflate. That's it. Nice, Janice. Pulling those rubber bands into the core, into the center, and open up your joints as you do. Very nice. Now, if you need, let's just kind of wiggle our hands a little bit, just like Janice just did. That's funny, she did it intuitively. So I threw a lot at you right there. But the main thing is just maybe spend a little time in a high Tai Chi stance. Assess your, ooh, my left foot's pulsating. Woo! Find where you start to sense tension and breathe into it, but inflate it. My tension's here. As I breathe into it, I'm breathing into it like I'm expanding and blowing up a balloon. And then it releases like magic. Now, experiment with different points in your body too, because you might think that's the core of your attention or wherever, but it may be somewhere else. The second part of what I just taught you was that when we move, we're going to move, eventually I want all our Tai Chi to feel like this and all our Qigong, but we're going to move because we're expanding from within, and that floats us. rather than us just moving. But when we use it, this visualization of inflating, you are inflating. And then your body responds to that, then it's a more floating feeling. And the chi in your body is able to circulate more readily. Yeah, exactly. So you sort of almost feel like you're floating in that water. And you're just working with the water and it's floating you as you move. All right, let's go ahead and gather our chi together. Float the arms and just let this flow into you. Boy, when you really start feeling this energy, it's just a joyful thing. And let it flow through your body, unimpeded. If you have an area that is kinked or tight or out of alignment, just inflate that area, breathe into it, and imagine this energy just flowing. It'll flow where it needs to go. Don't direct the energy. It's much wiser than we are. Okay, one more please. You just gather it and then open the doors for it. That's what we're doing. Opening the gate for it to flow where it needs to flow best, most. Beautiful. Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you all so much for letting me teach these things instead of just being locked into having to teach mechanical external form. I really appreciate our ever-deepening journey in strength and friendship and truly humility.